What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Cardfight Casual channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at my Neo Nectar Deck profile. And as you guys know, this is one of the new clans from EBO3. Well, not really new because it kind of came out quite a while ago, but I haven't had time to make this until now. So before we start off, let me just explain Neo Nectar's mechanic. These are my force markers, so nothing new there. It is a force clan after all, but here we have 5 plant tokens. Now all these tokens are exactly the same, with just a difference in design, and what they basically are just these grade 0 5k units that you can call Superior Call from a separate zone using some of your card effects. So as you can see, they just have 5k base power. This simply says that they can only exist in rearguard circles, I think. And they're plant tokens. We have 1 crit, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They have no shield because they can't be in the Guardian circle, and they don't exist anywhere else besides the rearguard circles. And because there only are 5 rearguard circles for a Force Clan, 5 plant tokens is all you need. You can run 4 and 1 or 2 and 3 or any combination of the two, and maybe they'll introduce more plant token designs as time goes by. But putting that off to the side and getting started with the grade 3s. So the grade 3s, just gonna put this grade 2s and the rest out of the way. Of course, we just have the normal starter, and then we have the Musketeer Cecilia. So the Musketeer Cecilia skill is that once per turn you can counterblast 1 and retire a rearguard, and search the top 5 cards of your deck and get 2 of those cards, and then call them to rearguards. If you have a grade 3 in Soul, you can call 3, and for that turn, the entire front row, all 3 units in the front row get plus 10,000 power. So this is going to be your main big powerhouse and is really good for refilling the field. It's a -1 and then a +3 if you have a grade 3 in Soul, so definitely the ideal grade 3 ride. I only have 2 Cecilia, and that's all I'm running now. If I do get a third one, I will replace this card, which is currently proxying for the Cecilia, but she's actually a really interesting card as well. A skill is that for when you ride her on the Vanguard circle, you can counterblast 3. Yes, it's a pretty hefty cost, but her skill more than makes up for it if you can get it off. A skill is that you can call up to 5 plant tokens to the rearguard, and each of the plant tokens get plus 5,000 power for each other plant token on the rearguard. That means if you call 5, and most of the time this is good for one really big turn swing, you'll be able to use the plant tokens to get 30k plant tokens each, because 5 times 5 plant tokens means 25, 25 plus the 5 base power of the plant tokens makes it 30k. So you can get some 30k boosters, 60k columns without any force markers. Unfortunately, this does not possess a force gift marker, but it is a necessary balance. If you do get a third Cecilia, you can replace this with a Cecilia, but I do think that 3 Cecilias is enough, because if not, you're going to start drawing them into them a bit too often. Here we have Maiden of Trailing Rose, whose skill is that she can call up to 2 plant tokens, 1 for rearguard on place, and 2 when she's ridden on the Vanguard. So very simple and really good for getting plant tokens on the field. And then her second skill is on the Vanguard circle. She can Soul Blast 1 to give 3 of her plant tokens plus 5k for the turn. A pretty good card. I run 3 copies of her. And possibly one of the best supporting cards in any deck, we have the Exploding Tomato. So, or Tomato, whichever way you say it, tomato. But basically this effect is that once per turn you can retire 2 of your plant token rearguards during your main phase, so that's an active ability. You can draw a card for the cost of retiring 2 plant tokens. And while this may seem like a high cost, retiring 2 units just to draw 1 card, plant tokens are essentially free, and you will have way too many of them on the field. So this is actually more about clearing out the field than it is about the free card draw. But his second skill allows you to retire him after the battle that he attacked in, without needing to hit or anything. Just after the battle that he attacked in, you can retire him and call 2 plant tokens to the back row. So unfortunately, you can't call them in a column to get an extra attack, which is what I originally thought this card was going to be used for. But unfortunately, you can't do that. At the same time, this is an incredibly good, and incredibly important support card for this deck. Now moving on to grade 2s, we run 12 grade 2s, that was 9 grade 3s just now, but here we go, 12 grade 2s, starting off with the Tree Sage, or the Wise Sage, Irremisal, something like that, that's his name. And his skill is really simple. When he's called on the rearguard, you can counterblast 1 if you have 2 or more grade 0 rearguards, and he can draw a card. For that turn, he gets plus 5,000 power. So a pretty basic skill, and he's only on calls. The effect only works on call, so you can't reuse him more than once. In that sense, most of the effects for Neo Nectar come down to vanilla cards after they've been used, but The really good thing about them is that they cycle very, very fast, and they have cards like this, which allow you to regain your hand size, and cards like Cecilia, which allows you to call multiple units on field, so it's really no problem. And all these little pluses here and there are really going to help you with those big columns. Sorry, I think the glare is getting a bit high. Here we have the Musketeer Kaivent, if I'm not wrong. Kaivento. And his skill is that when he's called in that instance, however many grade 0s there are on the field, you get plus 5,000 for each one. So if you have a field of 4 plant tokens, he gets plus 20k, and that is actually quite impressive because being able to hit 30k on your own is actually a really, really good thing. And this also helps to swing for really big columns, as you'll see once you play this clan or see how the clan plays. Last of all, for grade 2s, we have 4 Pansy Musketeer Sylvia, and her skill is just straight up a +1 when you call her on Vanguard, call her on Rearguard or ride her on Vanguard. You just take a plant token and you place it on the Rearguard. It's just an instant +1 for a 5k booster or attacker if you've got something boosting already, and it can be really just really, really good for filling up that field or just giving one of the tomatoes something to sack or the Cecilia something to retire. So we have next up 3 Corolla Dragon, who gets plus 3,000 every time a unit is placed by a card skill, which of course you have many copies of cards that do that, including the one I just went over, Cecilia, and Maiden of Trailing Rose, even Tomato during its battle phase. If you can call 2 more, then he will gain plus 6,000 power, which makes him an incredibly useful, incredibly versatile booster. Probably the second most useful supporting card in the deck ever. Here we have the Fruit Basket Elf, whose skill is that you can Soul Blast 1 active, retire this unit and call 2 plant tokens. Now that doesn't seem like much, but if your Vanguard is grade 3, both of those plant tokens also get plus 5,000 power, making her ability essentially Soul Blast 1, get 2 10k boosters for free, and also at the same time filling up the field. Incredibly useful card. Here we have one of the Musketeers, Merca, and her skill is that when on ride or on call, she can Soul Blast 1 and call a plant token. Again, another really good card for calling plant tokens. And her second effect is that whenever something is placed in the same column as her, during that turn she gets plus 3,000 power, and I do believe that stacks. So another really good card for building up power. And we have the Musketeer Rebecca last of all. Her skill is that when she's called, she gives 1 grade 1 or lower unit plus 5,000 power. And at the end of the turn, that's the end of the turn, not her attack or battle phase or anything like that. At the end of the turn, she gets to Soul Blast 1 if she chooses to. Soul Blast 1, retire a plant token, and she's returned to your hand for some extra guarding potential, or just for the 5k boost the next turn as well. Last up, we have the triggers. So I play 1, 2, 3 of this type of crit trigger, 4 of the chestnut crit triggers, making 7 crit triggers, 1 sunflower, 4 perfect guard draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers, rounding out the deck at 16 triggers, my bad. And as you can see here, I like this because it gives you that additional bit of hand size with that extra draw trigger, but if you do want to swap that out for a crit trigger, that is extremely good as well, because this deck actually does have a lot of draw potential, and you do run the risk of decking out if the game drags on too long. But these cards always make very, very big columns, as you'll see here in just one moment. So guys, this is one example of a really, really good field that you really want, and just here is an example of how potent this deck really is. So imagine this is your current field right now, and going into your turn, you have the Cecilia in hand. You ride, you put 1 force marker, let me just put this on this top Vanguard rearguard row here, and you start off by using the Tomato skill. You Soul Blast, or you retire 2 plant tokens, you get 1 extra card in hand. Then using Cecilia's skill, you counterblast 1, retire 1 more plant token, and you can get 3 more cards. So of course these cards can range from anything from Merca to help you get a extra rearguard circle, Fruit Basket Elf, which allows you to Soul Blast 1 and then call some more, Pansy Musketeer, again getting you another rearguard circle, or any one of these, the Sacred Tree. If you hadn't used Tomato skill yet, you can counterblast 1 and draw an extra card with him. Or you can call something like a Kaivent, and Kaivent gets plus 5,000 for each grade 0 rearguard you have on your rearguard circle. And suppose maybe you got a card like Merca, and you can call 2 Mercas. In fact, this is actually a really good combo, and a lot of people don't want to do it because they feel like it's wasting resources, but in truth, this is actually a really good strategy. So let's say this is your hand. You just used Tomato, so here he is at 23 already, 33 with the force marker, and out of the 5 cards, maybe 2 of them are triggers and 2 of them are these. So you can call them 1, 2, and 3. Now, what people don't realize is that you can use the effects. You can decide which of the effects go off in order. So, for example, if you had a bunch of grade 0s on the field, you'd want to call Kyvan first. Let's say you didn't require these plant tokens. Or you had another effect that called 2 more plant tokens, you could call Kyvan first. He would get the plus 10,000 power, and then you could call both Merkas, Soul Blasting 2, and then calling over the plant tokens. Now that may not seem like it's really good, because you're sacrificing an 8k for a 5k, but if you look at the column itself, the 5k boost and the 8k boost to the tomato, it really doesn't make a big difference since he's hitting the magic numbers on his own anyway. And if we could just get it to focus here. The 5k really does make a difference. Cecilia is giving 10,000 to the entire front row, and each card you call gives this Corolla Dragon plus 3,000 power, and that's 1, both of the Merkas, and then both of the plant tokens, giving a total of 15k to this Corolla Dragon, making him a 23k booster on top of a 30k Kyvan, and then a 10k for the front row, which makes that 23 plus 40, which is 63. This is a 33k plus another 5, which makes it a 38k, plus the 10 from the Cecilia, making it a 58k. Is that correct? 38, 48k. I think that's 48k. And then Cecilia herself does get that 10,000 power boost as well. So it makes her 23, and then 28, and then 38. Oh, sorry, 28. Which doesn't seem like much, but of course Vanguards are always dangerous because of those drive checks. So as you can see, you get a Vanguard column with a decent number and 2 drive checks, and you get 2 ginormous rearguard columns. And actually, you may think this is a difficult setup, but if you play the deck and you just see what it's all about, you realize that this is actually really easy to achieve. And this deck really works like clockwork. Because the only problem I would say with this deck is that there aren't more than 5 rearguard circles, but if there were more than 5 rearguard circles, you would easily overwhelm your opponent, because you could just call a plant token to a rearguard and have a 15k swing for 0 cost at all, and that would be just a bit too strong. So yeah, this is the deck review for the Neo Nectar deck, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. For those of you guys playing English, it's going to come out probably in a couple of weeks, so pick one up if you get the chance. Pick up this Neo Nectar playset, or just pick up some loose singles and build this deck for yourself and try it out. Anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of my videos. Until next time, have fun, and remember, it's okay to play casual.